Hey there, I'm Sean, and today we're starting a new RC drift project that I'm really excited about. We're going to be building this brand new Rhino Racing RTS. It's a 1/24th scale drift car. It's known as the Baby Shark, scaled down version of the 10th scale drift car that you've probably seen on my channel a few times because it's one of my favorites. I wouldn't be able to make this build or this video series possible without Rhino Racing, Hobbywing, and Super G, so big shout out to them. I really appreciate all their help and all their support. So in this video, we're going to be unboxing and seeing what's in this new package, this really sweet little box that Rhino Racing has right here. We're going to be putting some electronics in it. We're going to be getting it all set up. So let's go to the bench, get this thing out of the box, check out all the electronics I'm throwing into it, and start having some fun as soon as possible because that's the name of the game. Let's get into it. Okay, so here's everything that will be going into this car. Obviously we have the car itself. Now I have to be honest, I already opened this box up to see what I was getting myself into, and I was pleasantly surprised to find out that it actually comes fairly built, or at least this batch of cars did. So in these bags, you can actually see these cars, things almost built completely for me. Let me move these electronics out of the way real quick and we'll start checking out this chassis. So it comes, like I said, fairly complete. Box is super nice, cool little tin. QR code right here has the instruction manual on it. So if you do get a kit that's not built like this already, you'll have all your instructions there to see how it all goes together. Now I did chat with the guys over at Super G, and they said that this is batch 2 of the RTS 1/24th that has come out. Batch 1 had a few issues, so they actually corrected those issues in this batch and made some running changes to it. Now, if you're not as lucky as I am to have one come this complete already, then I apologize, but this is where we're at with this. So as you can see, you got the rear and the front of the chassis. It is just a mini Shark, if you've seen the 10th scale version of a Shark before. All right, I got the instructions pulled up on my phone here, and I'm gonna get started with just kind of the first part I need to get started with, which is getting the chassis length set. So here's this body that we got. It's a really cool one that I found on the shelf at Super G. It's a Cresta, and I'm excited to get that painted and kind of dialed in for this chassis, but I need to fit the wheel length to it. So we're gonna do that real quick. Now this is real simple from here, at least. These just slide in and kind of double themselves up with the screw holes that they have along here. So we're gonna get that kind of set and then get this body figured out where we want it. Now that is one thing that's really nice about all the Sharks, is that they are adjustable wheel length, even the 10th scale ones. So you can kind of run some unique stuff on them if you're trying to have some fun. All right, so still need to go a little bit farther out, and then we should be good. And the nice thing is this is, you know, this will be adjustable on the fly too. So later on down the road if we have any issues. But for now, I got the wheel axle sitting pretty centered on that, almost perfect. And now I just need to attach this with these little tiny screws here. All right, we got the chassis all put together. Now we got to start adding electronics. So we got to add the servo up here and throw our motor in here, along with a couple little mounts that go on these 2 tabs for our magnets that actually come included with this. Really excited about this little car. I've never seen something that's like put together this well. The engineering is just incredible, and I'm super excited. So let's get into the servo now. This will be the next step. I got my 2 little tiny screws here, and we're gonna get putting those in. This mounts upside down like so. This wire is gonna come around to the back, and it's gonna go right into this front area like this. So I'm gonna pull this rear one out real quick so I can get this servo slid in. I'm hoping that I can put the front one in without having to take it out. It's a little hard to see. There's another one of those black tabs of plastic right inside of here. And I had to get that flat so I can get the servo screwed in from the bottom side. Now that does slide back and forth, but as you can see, there's a little access hole right in here. Right there. Right in my garage and grab my mini Z tools that I have in there that have a couple extra little Allen keys, these little tiny ones, 0.9, 1.3. I'm pretty sure those are the sizes I'll be using. I actually really like this brand. If you haven't heard of this brand, they make some really nice stuff. So while I have the servo off, I'm actually going to install this back mount real quick. Should go just like this according to the photos. It's going to be one of our mounts right there, as you can see. Things get a little harder when you're trying to get this put into this front mount up here. Now I can either just try to do it with this all in here, or I think the easier way would be to pull these small turnbuckles off, pull the servo horn out, and just get it out of my way for a minute. I think that'll be the easiest route. So we're gonna do that. I think this 0.9 wrench should work. So I'm just gonna turn these out right now and get these out of the way, like so. Now the next goal is to get the servo, like I said earlier, to just slid up and in, and then get the screw coming from the bottom side to the top. We're gonna be coming from here up to here with the screw to this plastic mount right there. Okay, so you can see that's the hole that we have to get that servo screwed into. So I'm just gonna try to flatten this little plate out in here. That servo in there. And this hole right here is where we're gonna attach it to that other mount. Now that doesn't give us a ton of room to get our servo horn on, and we will have to see if we have any clearance issues with that down the road. So as you can see, that's not fully tightened. The servo in theory should be able to go backwards and forwards just like so. As you can see right there on that little sliding track, gives you some pretty cool adjustabilities. The next step is going to be getting the motor installed, because before I can put this servo horn onto here and get it all hooked up, I need to have power running to everything to make sure that this servo is perfectly centered on here. That way this lines up perfectly. Okay, with a little bit of work, I was able to just fit this servo horn back up and underneath here. So when we go to power it on, we will be able to attach it, and it should give us enough clearance from what I'm seeing here. So I'm just gonna reattach this little turnbuckle over here back to that. That way everything holds together properly and I don't bend anything. Next, we'll be installing this Hobbywing motor. Now, I don't know if the 6500 kV is gonna be perfect, but it's where we're starting and we're gonna see how it goes. If I need to turn it down, I can. I don't think I'll need to turn it up, that's for sure. But this motor is gonna be installed right back here. We have to add a couple extra things on this when we do it. Okay, we have everything we need to install the motor. These two mounts right here are going to be for our magnet mounts for our body. These screws will hold the actual motor in here. And I'm gonna have to find a screw that'll mount one of those tabs right on this side over here. We're going to get it installed where our soldering tabs and our sensor cable are able to be accessed. Room for those wires that are gonna solder on. So that'll be perfect. I can now put this back mount in, but along with this one, I need to put that magnet mount in as well. That is where our magnet mount will go to. It'll raise a little higher and it should fit, so we'll have to see. And if anything, we do some more adjusting when we get to that point. There we go, look at that. All right, that works. So if you have to, like I did here, I used this little screw, this little bolt right here on the short screw that came in my kit, and there's still just a tiny little gap there. And our magnet mount is on. Now we can move on to the next step, which would be putting in our ESC, soldering up our motor to the actual ESC right here, and getting our battery mounts all set up. So this spacer is going to drop in right here on this chassis, and those are going to be going into this spacer right here. That's going to give us a little pocket right here and another way to attach our side mounts to the battery. So that's going in there. Now this tab goes upwards, like so. I'll just keep that slid out to the outside for now. But as you can see, it's a little vertical post. Do it on the other side as well. Don't push down too hard on these either, because you will bend this little piece of metal here. So just be gentle. Nice and tight. And then you can see that's like a little mount that's going to hold our battery right inside. And we can adjust how far out the battery needs to be with this little sliding section here. Okay, I'm gonna run outside real quick to my garage, and I'm going to trim these wires and then solder them and mount this ESC to this Rhino Racing RTS. Now, I have other videos from the past on soldering that will apply perfectly to this, so if you want to see that, I'll link it below. But I'm just gonna need to trim these down a little bit and then bring these wires over to here. All right, I got the motor and ESC all mounted up. As you can see, I just did some 3M tape from the bottom side of that ESC there. And this motor I soldered on. Very, very simple process with this little tiny motor. I'm gonna put the gyro up front a little bit closer because the servo actually has to plug right into that right here. So I'm gonna leave this in the middle of the car a little bit more, kind of towards the front like it would be in one of our 10 scale drift cars. This will go right here. And yeah, I think I'm gonna mount that just right there. Nice little spot for it, super clean. And then I'll get the other servo wire, the wire that goes from here into the receiver in next. I went ahead and got everything else stuck to this chassis. This thing's looking really, really cool. What I did was I moved this battery mount from here back a little bit, and I actually put the battery on top of it with some Velcro. You might be able to see it in there. So I did that because I didn't have a way to get my bullet connectors plugged in when it was batteries slanted forward the way it originally was. I also got my receiver stuck on in here. We got these magnet mounts put on. These are real simple. If you are reading the instructions, you'll be able to get that all put together really easy. I may have to do some adjustability still on the actual height for the body, but that is currently getting worked on as well. That is in the paint booth in the garage right now, but this car is almost ready to go. So we're gonna cut this video here. I wanted to give you a good look at how this thing goes together, what you'll be getting when you actually order one of these, if you were to order one, and what the electronics would all look like on this car. Now, I have set the endpoints and done all that traditional stuff. Every gyro is different, so I didn't want to go too in depth in this video, but if you ever have any questions, please let me know. Other than that, this thing's looking really cool. I just need some wheels for it. I have some tires already, but I need to get some wheels on here. That body's about to be dry, and then we're gonna be heading to the track. So in the next video, you'll be seeing us taking this thing to Super G for the first time and getting it all set up, and hopefully everything goes perfect. I do suspect that it will because this car is really, really nice. So yes, thank you for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe so you do not miss the next one, and I will see you then.